The Pacific, January 18th, 2026. Dawn has yet to break over the pitch-black ocean surface. On the deck of the USS Abraham Lincoln, the air is thick with the scent of JP-5 jet fuel and sea salt. Thousands of sailors are deep asleep or drudging through the night shift, exhausted after a tense week of live fire exercises in the South China Sea. They think tomorrow will be just another normal day, patrols, maintenance, and staring at the endless horizon. But they were wrong. 6,000 miles away at the Pentagon, a decision has just been made in a windowless room. A decision that will completely alter the global chessboard in the next 72 hours. On the Lincoln's bridge, the red phone from Pacific Fleet Command rings. The captain picks up. No social pleasantries, just the code. Mission Package Alpha Zulu. Destination, Persian Gulf. Time, immediate. Speed, maximum. In an instant, the 97,000-ton giant shudders. Not from the waves, but from a sudden shift in destiny. Sailors are woken not by alarm clocks, but by the change in vibration of the steel deck beneath their feet. Two Westinghouse A-4W nuclear reactors begin to roar, driving the massive propeller shafts to spin at a frenzied pace. The ship turns its bow. It is not going home. It is charging straight into the mouth of war. Why now? Why rush as if tomorrow is the end of the world? And most importantly, why is the U.S. Navy willing to leave a vast region of the Pacific empty to throw its most valuable asset into a narrow gulf in the Middle East? Welcome to War Files. Today, we will decode the sprint of the USS Abraham Lincoln. And I warn you, what you are about to hear is not just a story about ships and planes. It is the story of how humanity stands on the brink, and how a single ship is keeping the world from falling into that abyss. To understand the madness of this order, you have to look at the map the generals in Washington are looking at. It is a nightmare. Imagine you are a U.S. Navy admiral. You have 11 aircraft carriers, the Death Stars of the sea. Sounds like a lot, right? But the reality is far more brutal. Look at the map for January 2026. USS George Washington, docked in Japan, too far north. If it races against time, it will arrive late. And in modern warfare, being 1 hour late means losing. USS Theodore Roosevelt, just out of maintenance. The crew hasn't warmed up. Coordination isn't fluid yet. Do you dare send rookies into the frying pan? No. USS Gerald R. Ford. The most expensive ship on the planet, the pride of technology, is currently locked in a tense standoff off the coast of Venezuela. It cannot move. The chessboard is broken. The Middle East is burning. Intelligence reports show Iran is not just threatening. They are moving ballistic missile launchers to the coastline. Ghadir-class mini-subs are secretly laying mines in the Strait of Hormuz. Washington needs a ship that doesn't just swim. They need a heavyweight boxer, a ship that can take a hit, and more importantly, can deliver a knockout punch on the very first night without waiting for reinforcements. And their eyes landed on the USS Abraham Lincoln. Why? What makes this aging ship, launched in 1989, the chosen one? The answer lies in a mysterious number, 295. That is the number of consecutive days the Lincoln has spent at sea without a single port call. Let that number sink in. 295 days. Nearly 10 months straight. No land, no draft beer, no stable internet. Just steel, salt water, and iron discipline. While Chinese carriers must return to refuel after 90 days. While the Russian fleet sits in port due to breakdowns. The Lincoln and its crew have proven they are monsters of endurance. The U.S. Navy didn't choose the Lincoln because it's the newest. They chose it because it's the toughest. When the world is about to collapse, you don't need a shiny Ferrari. You need a tank that has waded through hell and come back. But toughness is only the necessary condition. The sufficient condition for the Lincoln to survive the death trap of the Persian Gulf lies in what is hidden beneath that steel shell. Many look at the Lincoln and see an old ship from the Cold War. Mistake. A fatal mistake. In 2013, the Lincoln disappeared. It was put into dry dock, and for the next 4 years, the U.S. Navy performed the largest organ transplant surgery in history. The cost? $3 billion US. They cut the ship open, gutted it, replaced copper wire with light-speed fiber optics, upgraded the nuclear reactors to provide energy not for light bulbs, but for the energy weapons of the future. But the most critical change, the thing that makes Lincoln the ace for this 2026 mission, is the preparation for a new king of the skies, the F-35C, Lightning II stealth fighter. You have to understand this. The F-35C is not just a plane. It is a flying supercomputer. It demands support systems that old carriers cannot provide. The Lincoln is the first Nimitz-class ship torn down and rebuilt specifically for the F-35C. They reinforced the flight deck to withstand the intense heat of the F-35's jet engines. They built top-secret tactical briefing rooms right inside the hull, lead-lined, soundproof rooms where F-35 pilots can download intelligence data without fear of any spy listening in. The Lincoln is no longer just an aircraft carrier. It has become a floating fifth-generation base. And that is why it was chosen. Because the opponent this time isn't insurgents in pickup trucks. The opponent is Iran, a nation possessing one of the densest and most dangerous air defense networks in the world. Let's talk about the enemy. Iran is not naive. They know the Americans have stealth planes. They have spent the last 20 years preparing for this moment. Their secret weapon, the Resonance NE radar. Forget the radars you see in movies. The Resonance NE is a monster operating in the VHF, very high frequency band, with metric wavelengths. Why is this terrifying? American stealth technology is designed to be invisible to X-band radars, short wavelengths, the kind used for targeting. But with metric wavelengths, physics plays a cruel joke. When the radar wave matches the physical dimensions of a plane's wing or tail, resonance occurs. Simply put, in front of Iran's Resonance NE radar, the modern F-35C is not completely invisible. It appears as a blurry ghost. Iran knows something is coming. They know the direction. They know the range. On paper, the American stealth advantage is broken. Iranian generals are smirking. They think they have the U.S. Navy figured out. But they forgot one thing. Detection does not mean targeting. And this is where the Lincoln's kill chain demonstrates its brutality. Here is the combat scenario. The Iranian radar detects a strange signal. They try to transfer that data to S-300 missile batteries to lock onto the target. But the moment they turn on their fire control radar, boom! Their screens go white. Not from bombs, but from the EA-18G Growler, the electronic wizards of the Wizards Squadron on the Lincoln. Carrying the next-generation ALQ-249 jamming pod, the Growler doesn't just broadcast noise, it fires beams of digital energy aiming straight at the enemy's communication frequencies. It creates thousands of false targets. The Iranian radar is confused. Which is the real plane? Which is the Phantom? While Iranian operators are sweating cold bullets trying to filter the noise, the F-35s, the silent hunters, are already right on top of them. The F-35 doesn't need to turn on its own radar, which would reveal its position. They use passive sensors, sniffing the enemy's radar waves and triangulating the source. The hunter becomes the prey. A button is pressed. Anti-radiation missiles fly. Iran's radar sites turn into burning piles of scrap metal before they even understand what is happening. That is not magic. That is the deadly coordination between stealth and electronic warfare. That is why the Lincoln carries both. January 18, 2026. The USS Abraham Lincoln approaches the gates of hell, the Strait of Malacca, then charges straight toward the Gulf of Oman. The crew shifts to general quarters. Darkened ship, all lights out. All unnecessary communication cut. The 97,000-ton ship turns into a black hole drifting on the ocean. But you can't hide an elephant in the living room. As the Lincoln enters the narrow waters, an Iranian-flagged cargo ship named Arvin quietly appears. It runs parallel to the carrier just 2 miles away. On the Lincoln's bridge, everyone sees it. The watch officer reports, "Target Arvin is matching speed. Suspected intelligence gathering." They know for a fact that on that shabby cargo ship are high-resolution cameras and advanced signal receivers. Iran is filming. They are counting the number of aircraft on the deck. They are timing the reaction speed of the escort destroyers. In just 12 hours, those photos will be on a desk of the Islamic Revolutionary Guard Corps in Tehran. What does the Pentagon do? Sink it? Chase it away? No, they do nothing. This is the ultimate mind game. The U.S. deliberately lets Iran see. Look closely. Look at the 75 aircraft. Look at the 3 Arleigh Burke-class destroyers with 300 missile tubes surrounding them. Look at the American flag flying proudly. The U.S. Navy wants Iranian generals to pick up those photos, tremble, and do a simple math problem. If we launch missiles, can we hit the carrier? Answer, maybe. But then what? Answer, then comes total destruction. The Aegis defense system on the escort destroyers can track 100 targets simultaneously, shooting down ballistic missiles right out of space. If 50 Iranian missiles fly in, 40 will be shot down. 10 might get through. But the price Iran pays is its entire coastal defense system, its entire naval fleet, and its command centers leveled by the Lincoln's retaliatory strike. That is the concept of deterrence by punishment. Iran sees the Lincoln. They do the math, and they choose silence. The cargo ship Arvin turns away. The Strait of Hormuz remains open. 21 million barrels of oil continue to flow through the world's artery every day. Gas prices at the station near your house don't skyrocket to $10 a gallon. The stock market doesn't crash. You go to sleep tonight and wake up for work tomorrow as usual. Do you think that is luck? No. That peace is bought by the sweat and sacrifice of 5,000 human beings living on a city of steel in the hottest waters on the planet. It is bought by 3 billion tax dollars to overhaul an old ship into an impenetrable fortress. It is bought by the bold decision to deploy the USS Abraham Lincoln from the other side of the hemisphere straight into the enemy's face, not to start a war, but to stop one. The motto of the Abraham Lincoln is, "Shall not perish." For 35 years, that has been the crew's oath to the ship. But today, in the Persian Gulf, that oath has expanded. The global supply chain shall not perish. The prosperity of the world shall not perish. The Lincoln stands there, towering like a lighthouse of power, proving an ancient truth. If you want peace, prepare for war. Si vis pacem, para bellum. And as long as the Lincoln stands there, with F-35s ready on the deck and nuclear reactors roaring beneath the hull, the red line holds. This is the story of the sprint. This is the Navy decoded. If you feel your blood boiling hearing about this power, leave a comment. Proud below. The battlefield never sleeps, and neither do we. Don't miss the next fiery military analysis. Hit subscribe and turn on notifications right now to be the first to grasp the global situation. Join this fleet of knowledge today.